Good morning. We are going to begin our service now with the prelude for ingathering. We all will be muted. Put into the chat box where you are Zooming from and the first thing you thought of this morning. As we listen to the music of Tchaikovsky offered by James Smith live in our sanctuary. Thanks, James. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our community worship with the UUs of Charlottesville. It is so good to see everyone this morning, old friends and new. I am Debbie Norton, your worship weaver today, and I'm so glad to welcome all of you into this virtual sanctuary. Our physical sanctuary was built in 1950 on hilltop land acquired by the church after World War II. We are near the campus of the University of Virginia, whose first buildings were constructed in the early 1800s by enslaved African Americans. And we are on lands which for centuries were the dwelling place of the Monacan people. As we seek to make this a place of celebration and compassion, it is important to honor all those who dwelt here before and all those whose lives led to this moment of our gathering as a community of memory and hope. In our service today, Haley Owens will be sharing thoughts with us and sharing your joys and sorrows. Reverend Linda is with us, and she is so very pleased to welcome to our pulpit a colleague of hers, the Reverend Walter Leflore, the developmental minister at the UU Church of Roanoke. Reverend Leflore has served the denomination as a leader in DRUM, Diverse and Revolutionary Unitarian Universalist Multicultural Ministries, and on the board of the International UU Ministers Association. Welcome, Reverend Leflore.
Good morning. Good morning. It's good to be with you today. I bring you greetings from your sister congregation in Roanoke. I'm pleased and excited that we can share worship together, and I'm hopeful that our two congregations will have another opportunity to share and engage with each other again. I want to offer particular thanks to Reverend Leah and Reverend Linda for their invitation. And in return, I offer them an invitation to come worship at our congregation in Roanoke.
We're so glad you're here with us today. This morning, we're grateful for the tech skills of Sean Scally, Bailey Reed, and Carolyn Hines, who are working behind the scenes as technical support. We are also grateful to our video editor, Ellie Ransom, for her gifts and contributions. You can find the order of service online at uucharlottesville.org. Let us open ourselves here, now, to the process of becoming more whole, of living more fully, of giving and forgiving more freely, of understanding more completely.
We are the Reddick Smith family, and we'll be lighting the chalice this morning as a symbol of our UU faith. We gather this hour as a people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope,
sign of our quest for truth and meaning, and
celebration of the life we share together. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is a church of the open mind. This is a church of the helping hands. This is a church of the loving hearts. Our congregational chalice has been lit and will have its own screen through the service. If you have a chalice at home, please light it now.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Haley Owens, and I am honored to be a part of the worship team this morning, but I'm also honored to talk to you from the perspective of a new name task force member, which is a task force working to create the process by which our congregation decides our new name. This process is not simply about the end result, it is about building a stronger community that is more in line with the values that it seeks to uphold, a community that can have difficult conversations with conflicting opinions and love, and a community that embraces change. This process builds on many years of thinking and work and the experience of those that came before to build a better future. This process was harnessed by the Name Change Committee, which began with a vision of some committed, courageous members of our church who followed through and made that vision a reality. This process was one of a deep commitment to democratic values and deep inquiry. At each step of the way, there was consultation and feedback from our board, our ministers, the congregation, and involved committees. Since our name and vision for our congregation is so much more than just the removal of Thomas Jefferson's name, we've been working to envision what an appropriate name for us would be. To do so, we've been following loosely a design thinking process, and we started by encouraging everyone to brainstorm possible names that felt appropriate for us. We held 12 different cottage conversations that engaged 51 people to consider the different elements that could be in our name, which includes the words Unitarian Universalist, or an organizational structure that we identify with, like church, congregation, even circle, or a naming element like a value, location, geographical location, or inspirational person. As you might imagine, there's a lot of options, and there are so many ways that we can be named. And we worked to create conversations that were rooted in the fun of brainstorming all the different ways that we can reflect our community. So with this process of these conversations, we came up with over 50 different potential names, ranging from the simple Unitarian Universalist of Charlottesville to Tooth Jar Memory Church to Rivanna River Universalist Congregation, and so many more. We got very excited, but of course, we had to work out a way to narrow some of these down. So we held a vote that was both an online voting platform as well as paper copy if you wanted it, for people to be able to both share the ones they liked and rank them. We are so grateful for the outcome of this vote with almost 200 people, including our youth, sharing their perspectives. So thank you everyone for working hard to make your voices heard. So part of the timing of why we're sharing this, of course, this is a season where we're discussing and thinking, what are we becoming? Who are we becoming? But also after our service today, we're going to be sharing a more in-depth look at the results of this survey. Not only are we doing this after the service today, but also on Tuesday at 7 p.m. In brief, we will share some of the choices that quickly we are noticing became favorites and received more votes. These will be clear when the results are viewed. In these upcoming town halls, we're also creating a space for people to share their feelings on these options, as well as to listen to each other. And we'll be reflecting on those name options from the perspective of not only how it feels to us, but also thinking about how what this name might feel like to a visitor or to our broader community. So I invite you to join after the service today or on Tuesday evening to add in your thoughts. The sense that we get from these conversations, as well as any email feedback, will help us know if further conversations are needed before the June 6th congregational vote. Please note that any conversation or feedback on names must take place before June 6th. June 6th is the day of our final vote on the matter of our new name. So this has been a very interesting process for me personally, because some of the work that I've gotten to do in my career so far in creating public architecture involves community engagement. So I thought I had a bit of a sense of what to expect. But I wasn't expecting and absolutely have been delighted by, is the commitment to the democratic process that we have been pursuing, the flexibility that this commitment requires in order to do a thorough job and engage as many people as possible, the desire to dig into the hard conversations, and the dedication of members of our community to show up and offer their deeply considered thoughts on our new name.
Thanks, Haley. This has not just been about engaging people. These have been deep conversations that are actively building our community. As Bonnie, another member of our task force, put it, in my experience, the process of deciding to change our name and to settle upon a new name has proven to be an inclusive and affirming one. I have found my relationship with this congregation renewed. I feel at home here once again, ready to engage. I hope many others share this experience of becoming increasingly more involved in our congregation. I hope the congregation feels that renaming is a step toward becoming even more effective in serving the needs of its members and the greater community. By coming together to choose a name for ourselves that is rooted in who we are and our values, we are renewing our commitment to our community and broader community. All of us on the New Name Task Force experience this in our own way. Those are the words of Sachin Mehta. And I'm sorry, those were not. Here are his words. It was heartening to witness so much enthusiasm and creativity during the naming brainstorming meetings. It was even more satisfying to discover that the congregation naturally reached a consensus on the top choices. Elizabeth Breeden shared her view that a name is both a way to proclaim identity, who we are, but it's also to declare who we want to be known as. She goes on to discuss one of the leaders and the results of the survey. Quite frankly, I was shocked that as a group, we have elevated the plain, clear, yet uncompromising names without embellishment other than location. Upon reflection and after rolling around one of the options, Unitarian Universalists of Charlottesville, in my head, imagining saying it to strangers as a declaration of my identity, I was proud we stand in a democratic nation hoping that this name is inclusive. In this month that we contemplate becoming, it is my hope that a single name draws us to become Unitarian in seeking truth through love and Universalist, acting upon the firm belief that everyone is born good and destined for good. Please join us for these upcoming conversations as we hone in on a name that is right for us. Thank you to everyone for your dedication and commitment in participating so actively thus far.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know it is, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy, and the heart will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know it is, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy, and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah yeah, 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 oh yeah yeah,
Heaven knows how we will get where it is we are going to. And I want to thank Debbie and Haley, but also all the members of the New Name Task Force for their work. Heaven knows who we have been and who we are becoming. I'm so grateful to my friend and colleague, Walter Leflore, who is offering us his thoughts today on who we have been and who we might be becoming as a people of this nation. Now I invite us into a moment of prayer. In this sacred time of April, it's a month filled with the beauty of spring, of flowers, of fresh beginnings, a month of celebrations like Passover and Easter and now Ramadan, and a month which reminds us also of so many sorrows and so many things that tell us we're not yet where we want to be. We're not yet who we have dreamed we will be. April. The 4th of April was the anniversary of Martin Luther King's assassination 53 years ago. The 8th was the day communities around the world observe Holocaust Remembrance Day, recalling that more than 6 million people were the victims of that genocide last century. This past Friday, the 16th, marked 14 years since a gunman opened fire on the Virginia Tech campus and killed 32 people. And on that day, this year, another mass shooting took place in Indianapolis, part of a new epidemic of gun violence in our nation. And in this very moment and in the coming week, the people of Minneapolis and others who care are in anguish, traumatized, angry, grieving, worried, awaiting the results of the trial of a police officer for the death of George Floyd, an unarmed Black man, even as other Black men and women and children are still being targeted.
Oh, my prayer today is a wondering of how we can reconcile the beauty of becoming, the flower opening, the new day dawning, how we reconcile that with the ugliness of hatred and the difficult reality of all the ways we fail to become as whole and wondrous as we dream. Spirit of life, may we be held by the warmth of love that does exist in spite of it all. May we be encouraged by the light of justice that can be seen glimmering here and there in spite of it all. And may we be emboldened by the power we each have to shape the new becoming, to fulfill the promises we make, and to refuse to give up in spite of it all. May love surround us and uphold us and be within us in this moment and into the days to come. Amen.
Thank you, James. That was beautiful. As part of the name change and the new name committee, I was so in awe of being part of a process that has been here and carried us along the whole time. I was able to trust the process and just really appreciate the commitment of those who were working to change our congregation in a positive way. This Sunday, we're inviting everyone to make a gift to a social action committee to benefit the work of the Charlottesville Public Housing Association of Residents, known as FAR. FAR is a not-for-profit organization that is dedicated to advocating for and with public housing residents. As the duly recognized representative of all residents in public housing, FAR works closely with, but is separate from, the Charlottesville Redevelopment and Housing Authority, the CRHA. We are very happy to welcome the Executive Director, Shelby Marie Edwards, to tell us more.
Hi, my name is Shelby Marie Edwards. I use she, her, and hers, and I'm the Executive Director of FAR, the Public Housing Association of Residents. I started in this role in December 2020, and I'm so excited to be able to work with wonderful community advocates like Joy Johnson, who is the current board chair, and I have a fabulous staff made out of Brandon Collins, Wanda Johnson, and Dawn Gathers. Today, I'd like to let you know a little bit about FAR's mission, what we've been up to during quarantine, and how you can help. So, FAR's mission is to educate and empower low-income residents to protect and improve our own communities through collective action. We provide educational and leadership development opportunities through our internship program, which is one aspect of FAR you can support. We also have, we support the housing redevelopment processes. And so if you check out some of the news that have come out, on March 7th, we started breaking ground at South First Street, and on April 14th, we started doing redevelopment at Crescent Halls. And we also have community organizing, and each year that looks a little bit different, but this year, throughout quarantine, FAR has been providing a lot of residents with who might not have been able to go shopping and felt comfortable. We went grocery shopping for them, and we gave them the power of choice. So what FAR did was say, hey, what do you need? And without questions asked, we were able to provide grocery to over 40 residents. Thank you so much for considering making a gift, and I'll see you in the community soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. We encourage your gifts this morning to support this local nonprofit in their very important work. You can give by texting your donation amount and SOCACT to 434-277-2266. And of course, we do accept your offerings to the ministry of our own congregation this morning. You can send a check in the mail, or if you prefer, online donations are possible through the website using Breeze, or you can text your donation amount to 434-277-2266. We give thanks for all that you love, and we can encourage you to be generous in putting your love into action with your gifts. May your donation, like your love, go out into the world. And now please join me in dedicating the offering, saying these words. We accept your gifts with gratitude. May we use them wisely for the highest good.
There was a tea party in 1773. It was held in Boston, Massachusetts, and it was hosted by colonists who objected to British rule, which taxed them but provided them no governmental representation. So they held a party, and the party was about dumping British tea into the harbor. You know the story. And that, among other events, led to a Declaration of Independence and the American Revolution, which birthed a new nation. That nation created a constitution with a preamble that states in part, "We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, promote the general welfare, do ordain, and establish this Constitution." The first article of the Constitution delineates the way representation and taxes would be apportioned. That is to say, based on the number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years and excluding Indians, not taxed, and 3/5 of all other persons. That article explicitly includes free persons and those bound to service for a term of years. And I understand that phrase, and I may be misunderstanding, but I understand that phrase to mean white slaves with an off-ramp to freedom. It explicitly excludes non-taxed Indians, but it does include 3/5 of, quote unquote, all other persons. Now I understand that to mean slaves, Black slaves, without an off-ramp to freedom. Our nation was founded and built on inequality. That inequality was built in. It built in exclusions to justice, domestic tranquility, and the general welfare of the nation. As I thought about this sermon, first thing that came to mind was Langston Hughes, who had a poem called "A Dream Deferred." What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? Langston Hughes. 85 years later, it did explode. Exploded into a civil war between the states that lasted 4 years. It, to this day, remains the deadliest military conflict in American history. Most historians agree the Confederate States succeeded over the long-standing controversy of the enslavement of Black people. There are those who continue to insist that, to the contrary, that war was fought for the lost cause, and that is to say, to save the Southern way of life and to protect state rights. At the end of the Civil War came emancipation and the era of Reconstruction. That era lasted 13 years. I say only 13 years, before Jim Crow laws were enacted to stave off the progress and significant strides of Black participation in that general welfare of the nation proclaimed in the preamble of the Constitution. The net effect was the reestablishment of Black people as less than fully human, less than deserving of human dignity, judged, in fact, to be just a little bit more than half human. Jim Crow had a long and a stout life, up to 100 years. Reconstruction, 13 years. Jim Crow, 100. Think about that. At the height of the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King gave his historic speech about a dream he had. Martin said they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, Black men as well as white men, would be granted the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They killed Martin, and Black Panthers too. As the American story continued, some 40 years later, there came a man, an elegant man, a man of destiny. He was smart, articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy, someone is quoted to have said. And I think it's important to note that he had a white mother. This man and his Black family inhabited the White House when he was elected president of the United States of America. He and his accomplished, elegant wife made an idyllic couple and were beloved, and admired by many, many people of many races and ages. There were tears of joy, including mine, and disbelief that America had elected its first Black president. And there was self-praise by and for America that it had finally vanquished racism. Alongside of self-congratulatory praise, there was great angst, fear, and trepidation in this land. There was hand-wringing concern in some corners of the country that this Black man would be a president for Black people, and that non-Blacks would suffer greatly. Now, maybe it's just me, but I find it curious that when white presidents are elected, folks don't seem to express concern that they would be the president for white people only. Maybe it's just me that wonders about those sorts of things. Out of provocation of such a momentous event, the Tea Party was birthed. Let me take you back a few hundred years and remind you that the Tea Party was a precursor to the American Revolution. As rubber bands snapped back after being stretched, So too, apparently, American society seems to ever revert to its origins. A Black president was replaced not by a woman, but by a man. A Black president was replaced by an inelegant, gauche, racist brute of a man. Now, I will own full responsibility as that being my opinion. He's commanded and continues to command quite a following. And in that manner, has been very successful. In his odd approach to the presidency, he's garnered followers, who cherish and or fear him. And they are indeed ardent followers, making manifest his most obvious beliefs and characteristics. It causes one to wonder, have we come full circle to the birth of yet another revolution on the back of yet another Tea Party? Causes one to wonder, causes some to fear, but it causes one to wonder. I want to end with more words from Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes wrote a poem called Let America Be America Again. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great strong love of land of love where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slaves' scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I'm the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the father, farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean, hungry Yet today, despite the dream, beaten yet today, O pioneers, I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker bartered through the years. Yet I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone, in every furrowed turn, that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the man who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. For I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore and Poland's plain and England's grassy lea, and torn from black Africa's strand I came to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me. Surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shut down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay, for all the dreams we've dreamed, and all the songs we've sung, and all the hopes we've held, and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay, except the dream that's almost gone today. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet, and yet must be, the land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live like leeches on the people's lives, we must take back our land again, America. Oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath, America will be. Out of the rack and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft and stealth and lies, we, the people, must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, and the endless plains, all the stretch of these great green states, and make America, America again.
What a privilege we have. What a privilege to live in this pivotal moment in the life of our nation and in the life of our congregation. We have the chance to move ourselves closer to the dream of unity and justice for all. And we have the chance to do our own naming. We end this service now with the extinguishing of our chalice flame. Keep the light of your love alive in the days to come. And I encourage everyone to remain for the town hall following this musical offering from James. Thank you, James.